You are Locked On Astros Postcast, part of Locked On Sports Houston on the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
The thriller that we all needed for the Astros on a Monday night. As fun as it gets as they pull off a wild comeback win there late in the 8th inning with 4 runs in the inning to defeat the St. Louis Cardinals by a final of 7-4. Welcome into the Locked On Astros postcast here tonight. Michael Connor, your host, of course. You can join us after every single game with the Astros in any game when it comes to Houston sports right here on this channel. If you're new to the channel tonight, please hit the subscribe button. We got a lot to get into. Alex Bregman staying red hot. We've asked this question a lot. Can this also spark something for the club? Finally, please, that would be great. 30-ish minutes to get to it all with you guys here on the Locked On Astros postcast after, again, a much-needed win. SupplyHouse.com is the reliable way to get your parts fast. Shop for your next plumbing, h-vac, or electrical job and get fast shipping from coast to coast at SupplyHouse.com. So, the Astros tonight. Verlander, threw a lot of pitches. Did not miss a lot of bats. Looked like a 40-year-old. I think we're getting the full experience of 40-year-old Justin Verlander this year. It looks good at times. It looks dominant at times. And then at other times, he looks like he's getting old and really slowing down. And tonight was one of those nights where he started to look old and it was really slowing down. But you know what? He did a pretty good job of battling. I know that he gave up 4 runs. You don't love that. I'm sure he was pissed to give up that last home run there in the 5th inning. But he battled through a very high pitch count, and it was still a manageable baseball game at that point. Kyle Gibson on the other side of things, a guy that the Astros have, I think, quite a track record with because he pitched for the Texas Rangers, so they've seen him before. Credit to him tonight when he was out there. I mean, he basically just overall made Astros hitters look silly for most of the night. I know that, he didn't get to that 6th inning there for them, but he had guys flailing all night long. And it looked like it was going to be another one of those nights where we watch Astros baseball this season and you go, again? You're going to do this again? You're going to have a game where you go out there and you can't hit a baseball at all? You can't pull whatever it is. Like you can't do it? That's what you're going to give us tonight? It's going to be sad Astros, frustrating Astros. And to their credit, this has not been a team that has played this way this season. They have been very bad at coming back late in baseball games. I think they had maybe 1 win when they were trailing after 6 or 7 innings tonight and coming into tonight, and they pull off another one. Probably helps that they're playing a team that they've seen a lot of in spring training in the Cardinals. They've seen a lot of those pitchers, so maybe there's some sort of memory bank there that helps you. But I am impressed that they find a way to get one done because if you've listened to me forever, you know I've said this forever. If you're going to lose fast, and they were losing slow tonight. So my mood about 30 minutes ago was stale, to say the least. Very stale. And it was probably going to be stale coming onto this show. We were going to talk about what Dana Brown said today about the deadline again, and how could you keep saying this when this team has now lost 7 of their last 10, but instead they've won a baseball game, so it's not 7 of their last 10. They've pushed themselves way back again in the division race. We've talked about that a lot. The Rangers tonight were the only other team, in the American League West playing. They did lose. The Astros gained a game on the Rangers. They're now just 3 back of second place in the AL West. Still 7.5 out of the division when just a couple of weeks ago. They were sitting there staring at, 3.5 out? Going into a series there in Seattle where you thought maybe you're going to make this a really tight race coming out of this series. Didn't happen, is what it is, and we've talked about it, ad nauseum. This month of June is a month that they have to crush. They're playing a bunch of teams in this month that are under 500 coming in or at 500. And these are the kind of teams, the kind of games that you have to play, and you got to dig out. You got to find a way to dig them out. For as awful of a night as it was, because they really weren't putting stuff in play. They were, again, swinging all over the place. You credit Kyle Gibson for doing that when he did it. Out there, we're making some of those guys look foolish. But they found their way. And for me as a fan, and I know for you guys as a fan as well, in this has been the most trying season that you can probably ask for as an Astros fan in 10 years. And when you're in the middle of it, even though I'm very disappointed with how this season has gone, and I'm sitting here saying, I don't think that they're going to end up making the postseason. They don't feel like they're vibing right. Everything's gone south. I'm still, and I know that all you guys are as well, watching this every night and holding out for some sort of, silver lining, some sort of hope. I do still want to believe that they can do it. I want them to make me be wrong that they can't. That's what I genuinely want more than anything else. I want to watch them go back and be a postseason team again this year, for as unlikely as it seems in this very moment. And tonight is one of those nights where I watch like you guys do, and you sit there and you say, something may click. Did they find it? Is this the moment where we're going to look back on and say, this sparked the club, which we'll talk about again in a little bit. But that's what being a fan is, right? That's what happens when you're so invested in a team. And when they don't meet expectations, you pray for the turnaround every single day. And I'm going to go to bed tonight, like I know a lot of you probably will as well. And I'm going to sit there and I'm going to, in the back of my head, say, tonight will end up being the night. We're going to look back. We're going to do this show later in the year, the Locked On Astros Postcast, and say, remember that game, June the 3rd, against the Cardinals? They came storming way back on a night where, your ace of your staff, one of your aces of your staff, Justin Verlander, wasn't all that great, and your offense was just getting destroyed early in the game. Remember that game when they did that? They scored 4 runs in that 8th inning. Remember that was the spark? Remember that was the time where things started to change? And there's positive signs in this lineup, at least of maybe the most important piece. Now, the Kyle Tucker thing tonight, we'll talk about that in a second, but Yordan Alvarez again tonight, homers. Yordan Alvarez gets 2 more hits tonight. They get Yordan going in this lineup. It makes the lineup have a different dynamic. Him and Bregman going. You hope that Kyle Tucker won't miss too much time with the shin. I'd imagine he's not going to play the rest of this series. Maybe I'm wrong. Who knows? But that was brutal. That cutter in, hitting it down onto your shin like that. And not like he poked it onto his shin. He hit it into his shin. I can't imagine what his leg looks like right now. But if you can have that combination of those 3 guys doing something, and please, at some point, I know he had a double there in the 9th, or the 8th, excuse me. Jose Altuve has been awful lately. I mean, have you peeked at Jose Altuve's numbers? This guy was hitting in the 340s there for a good minute. He's below 290 now. His OPS has dipped below 800 now. Jose Altuve has to get it going. But if you could get all those guys going at any point together, you're talking about a team that, can actually win baseball games. They've pitched well enough, and tonight was the same case. Even if they lost this baseball game tonight, they were still going to be able to go out of this one, if they did, and say, outside of Verlander not having his sharpest night, it was still a night where the baseball game was winnable thanks to the pitching that you got. And they were not doing that all night long. And then, boom, the bats make it happen. Let's talk Alex Bregman. Let's talk Yainer Diaz as well, and more on Jordan. Those three guys who hit the ball over the fence tonight, but the big heroes there in the 8th in just a quick second after this quick message. Get supplies from the site that's made for the skilled trades, SupplyHouse.com. SupplyHouse.com is the reliable way to order plumbing, HVAC, and electrical products online. Their easy-to-use website is packed with helpful resources and the latest product info to help you get the job done right. Shop a complete inventory of 200,000 parts from over 400 top brands and get your order delivered right to your door with fast shipping from coast to coast. Need help with an order? Get expert support and industry-leading service from the friendliest folks in the business and talk to a real person every time. Pros in the skilled trades get a competitive edge by joining SupplyHouse.com's free Trade Master program. Every trade master gets access to a dedicated phone line, free shipping, and discounts on every order. Join the thousands of trade pros already benefiting from their membership at SupplyHouse.com/TM and order HVAC, plumbing, and electrical supplies from anywhere with just a few clicks at SupplyHouse.com. Locked On Astros Postcast tonight on a Monday night thriller for the Houston Astros against the St. Louis Cardinals. Isn't it kind of nice for those of us that, gosh, I'm going to make myself feel old today, and I really do feel old. For those of us that remember the rivalry that was Astros-Cardinals there in the NL Central, I don't miss National League baseball. I know that you play every team now. I just don't miss the National League. I genuinely enjoy playing in the American League. I enjoy the matchups better. Against the American League West. I enjoy playing in those cities a lot more than I enjoyed watching them play in the other cities, and I enjoy going. Since I've gone to some of those cities, I've enjoyed going to the American League West cities more than the NL Central cities. But that actually used to be a rivalry, and their fans, they do travel. I will say they are nice fans compared to other fan bases. I may or may not have been in a Embassy Suites in spring training back in 2017. And may or may not have basically been given free drinks by old Cardinals fans all night and did not wake up feeling my best the next morning. We hung out in that bar talking baseball all night long. It was a very interesting night. But tonight, the drinks should be flowing for the Astros. Not figuratively, not literally, of course, but maybe figuratively. They probably should go home and get some rest and get ready for tomorrow. But they went out there and they did their thing. And Alex Bregman tonight, and by the way, I did fail to mention, this is the Locked On Astros Postcast. And if you are new with us tonight, please hit the subscribe button. Also, share this with whoever you want to share this with. Tell them to go hit the subscribe button to the Locked On Sports Houston page. And you could get this on podcast. Anywhere that you get your podcast, just search Locked On Astros. You get this one and the Locked On Astros podcast, which is Brett and Eric. They're doing a wonderful job. They got all the content for you as well every single day. So 2 great podcasts in the same place, and it's free. So in those of you that are listening on podcast, please go subscribe to the YouTube page. But Alex Bregman has actually turned some things around. Now, it's been weird. He had his hot streak at home against Oakland, and then it went back out, and it got cold again. And then they went on the road, and he plays Seattle. He plays Oakland, 2 teams that he's got a long history with because the Astros play them so many times a year, pitchers that he's very familiar with, and he does well against. Now, I said this on a postcast recently. I said, it's great that he's hitting better. Like it was might have been during that Seattle series there, or that during the Oakland series, one of the 2, on the road. And I said, it's great that he's doing this. He needs to do this. The Astros need him to be this guy. I want to see him do it against a couple other teams. I want to see him do it against pitching that he doesn't see all the time. And Twin series, Cardinal series now, this is pitching they don't see all the time. I know that they play every team every year, but and they do play St. Louis a ton in spring training because they're right at the road, 12, 14 minutes, whatever it is, from West Palm Beach. But this is the kind of stretch now in his last 20 games where I believe he's hit 7 home runs, as Alex Bregman, that gets you to buy back in that he's not completely washed. He can still do some things. I just still don't love the swing and miss a little bit. I think that he is he's not been as disciplined as he typically has been. in the past, and he's chased a little bit more this year. I mean, look at strikeout numbers. He's got more strikeouts than he does walks right now, does Alex Bregman. So, that'll happen. But simple fact is this. If they want to turn it around and actually figure it out, and in this month of June, a month of June where they can feast on a schedule that is so feastable, it will require Alex Bregman continuing to play like this. And it makes the lineup so much better. I've talked about it recently as well, is when they're at their best, I know that you've seen different combinations of who's hitting fourth, and, Jeremy Pena's gotten some run at times in the 4-hole. He's back in the tank right now. They got to get him going again. But when this lineup is at its best, Bregman's going to be in that 4-hole or in the 3-hole. He and Jordan 3-4. That's what this lineup is best constructed. Altuve, I think we're all in on it at this point of Kyle Tucker being the 2-hole hitter, and then Jordan, and then Alex Bregman. That's your perfect scenario 1 through 4. And he has Bregman like a guy that can be a 4-hole hitter recently. And if he keeps performing this way, he's going to make himself a little bit more money. I still think, it's a long season. There's a lot of ebbs and flows. We'll see how he goes. He's going to have to really climb his numbers out to get himself the kind of paycheck or anything close to the kind of paycheck that he was looking to get. Right now, he still wouldn't get a very good, deal. He'd probably have to go take the 1 year, prove that you can do it, and then get a big deal with a bunch of opt-outs after that, because that's kind of where Scott Boras clients go at this point when they can't get deals. Look at Cody Bellinger, look at Matt Chapman with the Giants. That's just what happens. Guys get overvalued because, he's a Scott Boras client. And, okay, it doesn't mean he's the best player in the league. He's a good player. He's not the best player in the league. But they need Alex Bregman, and that was a good sign to see him go out there and do that tonight. It's a great sign to see Yainer Diaz hit something off of the ground and hit it hard and put it over the fence. I mean, I am stunned at how bad Yainer Diaz has been this season. I mean, even my dog that's sitting over here in his chair to my left and is staring at me right now is giving me this look like he's stunned as well. Absolutely stunned that Yainer Diaz has been this bad. A guy that hit 20-plus home runs last year as a rookie that played and, got 300-plus at-bats. That was it for him last season. I mean, truly mind-boggling that he went from so good last year. Now, I know that, the league makes adjustments, and scouting report, how they attack you is different, and attacking him is very simple. Throw something with spin, down and away. You're going to get him to flail at it. And his at-bats tonight were terrible until that last one. But maybe that's the kind of moment that can spark the confidence. I know that they gave him a couple of days off. There's been issues with the mechanics of the swing for Yainer Diaz. I know that they were worried about him, I think, kind of leaning too much towards the pitcher and, not getting loaded, not getting back and hitting the baseball, driving the baseball like he did. Because if you've ever been to Minute Maid before the game and you get in early, nobody puts on a BP show like Yainer Diaz. I mean, he just smokes them. I mean, hits the ball harder than anybody else out there. And that just has not translated to the baseball field this year. And then there's the mental side of it where, you get going bad and then it's hard to get out of that hole. And he's been a guy that definitely could not get out of that hole there for a minute. But that was a huge home run. You have to think it was massive for his confidence. They need his bat as well. That's the other thing. I mean, I talked about Bregman there and then how they need Bregman to continue to get going and stay this way because they need him to be the 4-hole hitter. The truth is, like they did when they came into the season, Yainer Diaz needs to be the 5-hole hitter. He's got the power to change a game to where he should be hitting in the top 5 of the order. And it just hasn't happened this year. I mean, it's not Martin Maldonado bad, but it's not good what he's done at the plate. If he can find a way to get his bat going, at least from a power standpoint, they need that. And it's nothing against Jeremy Pena. It's nothing against Jake Myers. Those guys have had very good seasons. Jake Myers, another couple of hits tonight. I know, again, Pena's been in a little bit of a funk of late, but those guys should not be hitting 5 or 6 in your lineup. Simple as that. Those guys belong a little bit further down, and it's on those guys that are going out there to, get the job done at the top of the order. For Diaz, there's a lot of reasons why with the mechanics and whatnot. Just could be one of those years. He's really trying to heavily focus on his catching, and I think that is something that they feel a lot better about based off the way that the pitching staff has performed with him so far this season. Are you a prisoner of the moment? Do you think that tonight is going to spark this club to the level that they need to go to? We'll talk about that after this quick message here on the Locked On Astros Postcast. And that quick message is for PrizePicks. Have you played PrizePicks yet? Well, if you haven't, why not? Download the app right now and get playing on PrizePicks. You probably could have gotten yourself some money made tonight on the Astros on PrizePicks. Picking some overs, some more, some less, whatever it is, you can get it right there with PrizePicks. With PrizePicks, you could turn $10,000 into $1,000 in a single game watching your favorite sports this summer. You can make a pro picks lineup in as little as 60 seconds. You just need to pick more or less on 2 to 6 players, stat projections, and you're locked in. If you're looking for promotions, PrizePicks has got you covered every week. From lowering select players' stats projections on Tuesdays will increase your chances of getting a win, to getting your entries fee back if you have a losing lineup on Fridays. Again, go download the app right now because it is a great time when you watch these games, and use the code LOCKEDONMLB for a first deposit match up to $100. Again, that's LOCKEDONMLB for the code when you download the PrizePicks app right now. Locked On Astros Postcast tonight. Thank you for joining us live on the YouTube page. If you're new to the page tonight, please hit the subscribe button. I would greatly appreciate that. We're on our way towards 1,000 subscribers. And that will be very, very nice and humbling, I should say, that you guys have picked up on this. We've been in since what? Middle of April now. So we made it through April, we made it through May, and we're into June, and the growth has been great, and it's all because of you guys, and I am seriously very appreciative of it. So again, please hit the subscribe button and tell everybody to go and subscribe to it, and then come back. We'll be back tomorrow night when they play another 7-10 game, and then Wednesday we got a 1-10er. I love the 1-10 weekday games. We'll be with you live as soon as that game ends as well here on the Locked On Astros Postcast. I asked it before we did our little message there, and I do mean it. You can put it in the comments. Is this the kind of night? Are you a prisoner of the moment where they go out and do this? Is this the kind of night that makes you think that this could spark the club? Like I said to start the show, I am hopeful. I am absolutely hopeful that this can be that moment that we can look back on in a month and a half, 2 months, the end of September, and say, that game against the Cardinals, something changed. They showed the fight because, look, they've been part of the problem with this Astros team and watching this Astros team this season is that they've not once given me the feel of the edge that I expected them to play with. I really expected this team to come out after last year losing to their state rivals in the Rangers in Game 7 of the ALCS at home after you had to just win one of 2 games in your own building to go back to the World Series for a third consecutive year. I really expected them to come out and play with their hair on fire. Kind of like, go look at what the Phillies. Now, I know injuries have played into it and whatnot, but go look at what the Phillies did this season. That was a team that looked like they were cakewalking back to the World Series last year when they're playing the Diamondbacks, and then it just fell apart. And it's like they came out pissed off about it this season, and they've lit the world on fire. I just expected that kind of edge from this team. I really did. I don't know where that edge has gone. And is it simply because of certain voices not being there? Is it because the voice who's leading them is different and is not somebody that they may – I mean, look, he's been around for a long time as a spotter. Is he more of their friend than the person that they respect? I don't know. These are just questions that I'm asking out loud. But what I do know is that they've not given me the warm and fuzzies on how they've played and how the level of energy that I get out of them on a nightly basis. But again, baseball's a weird sport. Baseball season is a weird season. It's so long, so many things happen, and they've hung around, but they are in the danger zone right now. Let's not get that twisted when it comes to the postseason. They are in the danger zone. If they screw around again in this month of June, and they don't turn this thing around and just find a way to blitz through this month, they're going to play themselves out of the division in all likelihood. They're going to play themselves into a spot where they'll be fighting for the final third wild card spot at best, and that will still be, I mean, they're still 7.5 games out of a wild card spot as well. They are. It's mind-boggling at times. But if they're going to do it, it does have to start tonight. You can't wait on it anymore. It's no longer May. It's no longer April. It's June the 3rd. And before you know it, you're going to look up in the blink of an eye, and it'll be like June 15th, and it's like, oh my God, the All-Star break is in like less than a month now. It happens quick. It gets late early. And it's getting late with the record. That's why nights like tonight have to continue to happen. Not only do they have to just flat out win baseball games, but they have to find a way to claw back on nights and come up with the improbable win and get the one-run win and get whatever it is that they need to do to go out there and get back to where they need to be. I'm happy tonight. I know you guys are happy as well. That was fun. That win was a lot of fun, and I hope that there's more of that for you, for me, for my sanity, instead of sitting there and just wanting to throw things in my television. And we'll have good, positive things to talk about moving forward. Thank you for joining us tonight on the Locked On Astros Postcast. Again, if you're new to the channel, please hit the subscribe button tonight. We're on that climb to 1,000. Let's get to 1,000 by the end of the week. I know that you guys can help me do it. And then, of course, we'll be back with you tomorrow night after the Astros and Cardinals. Chance to win a series tomorrow night. You got to go out there and get that done. Don't fart around on it and wait till Wednesday. Get it done tomorrow. Hope you guys have a great rest of your Monday night. Talk tomorrow night on the Locked On Astros Postcast.